A stunned hush rippled through first class the instant Oliver Grant's voice cracked like a whip. She does not belong here. Get her out before she steals something. The middle-aged white executive practically lurched from his aisle seat, pointing a trembling finger at the slender black girl across the row. Every phone in reach rose as though commanded. Lenses glinted, passengers gasped, and in a heartbeat a transcontinental flight that had taken off in routine calm was spiraling into uproar. 9-year-old Gabby Johnson pressed herself against the window of seat 1A, her dainty sneakers barely brushing the carpet. A leather notebook, its pages crammed with systems engineering sketches, rested on her lap. Her braided ponytail quivered while she tried to shrink beneath Oliver's accusation. "I'm just reading," she whispered, voice almost swallowed by the commotion. But Oliver was gathering allies. "She's unsupervised, she's rifling through bags. Did anyone verify her boarding pass?" he thundered. "I'm a diamond tier flyer. I know who belongs in first class, and this child does not." His words, marinated in arrogance, slithered from row to row. Moments later, another passenger, a silver-haired consultant named Elaine Pierce, chimed in. "We saw her wandering the galley earlier. She could have lifted anything." Phones filmed Gabby's face as confusion bloomed into terror. She hugged her notebook to her chest as though numbers and circuits might shield her. The Airbus shook slightly in crosswind, but the real turbulence now erupted inside the cabin. Overlapping shouts, hisses of indignation, and the crisp flutter of call buttons being punched. Harper Lee, the lead flight attendant, strode forward in Navy heels. Harper was Korean-American, poised, and unafraid to lock eyes with injustice. "Sir, please sit. The girl is here legally. I checked her pass myself." Her calm infuriated Oliver. He jabbed the air again. "I demand you move her to coach until you confirm who bought that ticket." Gabby's ticket had been purchased by her mother's assistant, but Harper's words only fanned the flames of suspicion. A tall, bespectacled man 3 seats back muttered, "What's wrong with back there? Why does a kid need lie-flat seats?" Under the chorus of murmurs, Gabby's small voice cracked. "Mom said I could work on my designs. I'm going to present at the Young Innovators Expo." No one listened. The scene had grown too deliciously dramatic. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop your thoughts in the comments box. What none of them realized, what even Oliver didn't know, was that Gabby Johnson was not an ordinary 4th grader. She was the youngest finalist in the North American Robotics Symposium, the child of Patrice Johnson, a black aerospace software magnate whose company powered half the satellite navigation in low Earth orbit. Gabby was flying solo from New York to Seattle to unveil a swarm drone algorithm that had already stunned MIT researchers. She had been dreaming of that stage for 6 months. She'd memorized her speech down to the second. But those hopes were fraying under the glare of stranger hatred. Oliver, however, was unraveling in his own way. The quarterly numbers at ChronoHealth, the wearable tech firm where he served as VP of marketing, had cratered. Board whispers suggested his termination might be weeks away. Panic sharpened into paranoia, and paranoia into bile. A child sitting 2 rows ahead, the color of her skin, the confidence in her posture, triggered every dread he harbored about losing ground in a world changing too fast. He would not leave that insecurity unexpressed. Harper blocked him with an outstretched arm. "Enough, Mr. Grant. You are harassing a minor." Oliver leaned closer, lowering his voice to a venomous hiss. "Then prove I'm wrong." He thrust his platinum Amex to her, as if bribery itself might verify truth. Harper refused to take the card. Oliver drew a deep, shuddering breath and hatched a darker plan. 15 minutes later, while cabin lights dimmed for the dinner service, Oliver slipped to the lavatory, clutching his briefcase. Inside, he retrieved a sleek smartwatch still wrapped in cellophane, an unreleased ChronoHealth prototype that lacked identifiable serials, his just-in-case burner. He powered it on, factory reset it again, then slid it into an inside pocket of his jacket. His pulse hammered as the plan crystallized. Plant the watch on the girl, cry theft, and let mob justice reinforce his prejudice. Anything to show the world that he still controlled the order of things. Oliver emerged, forced concern on his face, and meandered toward Gabby's row. She was bent over the notebook, drawing latticework thrusters beside a note. "Remember to thank Mom for sponsoring the LiDAR module." Oliver feigned a stumble, spilling his club soda across the aisle. "Oh, sorry, kiddo," he muttered. The fall looked clumsy but was choreography. His jacket brushed her backpack side pocket just long enough to slip the smartwatch in. Returning to his seat, he waited precisely 9 minutes, time enough for passengers to settle. Then the performance began. He pawed frantically through his briefcase, eyes wild. My prototype, he yelped. Worth $70,000 in IP gone. The emotional contagion spread like wildfire. Elaine Pierce popped up. Check everyone's bags. Murmurs soared to shouts. Someone rang the call bell so hard the plastic cover snapped. Oliver pointed straight at Gabby. She was closest. Search her first. Gasps followed. Harper's brows knitted, but the mob's appetite for judgment was already ravaging restraint. Elaine urged, Sweetheart, please just open your bag so we can clear this up. Gabby's small hands trembled as she unzipped her lavender backpack. Harper crouched to help, whispering reassurance. The second pocket sagged, and out toppled the black watch, glinting beneath overhead LEDs. A collective intake of breath sucked the oxygen from the cabin. Oliver pounced. There. Evidence. Call the authorities. Gabby stared at the object as if it were a scorpion someone had lobbed at her. I've never seen that, she choked. It isn't mine. Harper's voice shook now. She's saying she didn't take it. Oliver snapped. The proof is literal hardware. Do your job. Seatbelt signs flashed as mild turbulence began, but inside first class a different storm raged. 2 flight attendants summoned Captain Brenner. Brenner radioed ahead to air traffic control. Emergency diversion to Chicago O'Hare for a theft incident involving a minor. Seated quietly in 3D through it all was Dawn Webster, a black woman in an oatmeal blazer scrolling a Kindle. Few knew Dawn was in fact Special Agent Dawn Webster of the Department of Homeland Security, flying covertly to a cybersecurity summit. Agents were trained to observe before interceding, and Dawn had captured Oliver's lavatory exit, the soda stumble, and the suspicious watch drop on her concealed lap camera. She recognized racial framing when she saw it. But protocol required overwhelming certainty. She kept filming. 35 minutes after the accusation, the Airbus A321 groaned onto a storm-sleek runway at O'Hare. Blue-white police strobes bathed the windows. Gabby's pulse galloped as 2 Chicago PD officers boarded. Officer Rizzo and Sergeant Yates, both white, hands hovering near cuffs. Oliver volleyed allegations with theatrical fervor. Corporate espionage. She targeted me. Look at her scribbles, probably notes for competitors. He snatched Gabby's notebook, pages flipped, hand-drawn rocket schematics. Yates frowned. Oliver's claim didn't match. Harper begged restraint. She's 9. She's alone. Rizzo replied, doesn't matter if she's 9 or 90. Theft's theft. He produced flex cuffs sized for juveniles. Gabby whimpered. Can you call my mom? Please call Dr. Johnson. Yates paused at the name, but continued. Flex cuffs cinched around wrists built for monkey bars, not criminal charges. Cameras flashed. A gray-bearded influencer live-streamed. Wild scene. Kid thief busted in first class. Hashtags blossomed before truth could sprout. Harper's empathy wavered into fury. She marched to Oliver's seat. Sir, I will need your boarding pass and ID. He smirked. Talk to legal. Harper glared, then glanced 2 rows back, where Agent Webster quietly rose, flicked her badge open just enough for Harper to glimpse DHS insignia, and nodded. Message received. Hold tight. With Gabby restrained, the officers began reading Miranda. Tears sluiced down the girl's cheeks. The whisper she emitted was not for them, but for the numbers in her mind. Prime sequences she recited under stress. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. She barely heard the scuff of boots as a third uniformed figure boarded. A tall black woman in an emerald pantsuit flanked by 3 security agents. Dr. Patrice Johnson, Gabby's mother, had chartered a jet from Newark the instant Harper's voicemail reached her. But someone else's jet, faster and loaded with lawyers, beat hers by minutes. An ebony Gulfstream that now idled beside the Airbus. From it stepped Solomon Clark, CEO of Clark Johnson Aerospace, Patrice's business partner and Gabby's godfather. O'Hare's ground security led him onto the jet bridge after one call from Washington, courtesy of Senator Valerie Kruma, who owed Solomon 2 campaign favors. Solomon strode into first-class radiating boardroom domination. Seats hushed as though vacuum-sealed. He ignored Oliver, faced the officers. Who arrested my goddaughter? The question was underwater calm, and therefore menacing. Yates answered. Solomon handed over an embossed card. Solomon Clark, federal defense contractor. Level 8 security clearance. This child possesses DoD-approved intellectual property. If your cuffs compromise her fine motor nerves, you'll answer to the Pentagon. Yates' jaw slackened. Solomon turned to Gabby, voice softening. Brilliant girl, you okay? Gabby croaked. They think I stole. Solomon's gaze moved to Oliver, metamorphosed into predatory stillness. "Sir, did you search her bag yourself?" Oliver froze, adrenaline replaced by creeping dread. Special Agent Webster chose that moment to step forward, announcing herself formally. "Sergeant, before this escalates, I have evidence contradicting Mr. Grant's statement." She played her lap camera video on the seatback screen. Oliver's soda dive, the sleight of hand watch drop, the malicious grin he couldn't erase fast enough. Gasps detonated in the cabin. Someone dropped a phone. Elaine Pierce whispered an oath. Officer Rizzo's face blanched. He removed Gabby's cuffs with a stutter of apologies. Yates pivoted, cuffs now for Oliver. Oliver's brain screamed for salvage, career, dignity, freedom, but found none. His mouth still opened. "That video is Dr." Rizzo twisted his wrist behind his back, snicking real steel cuffs closed. "Oliver Grant, you're under arrest for filing a false police report, tampering with evidence, child endangerment, and racial intimidation." Gabby exhaled a ragged breath, half sob, half relief. Harper slid beside her, offering ginger ale and the candy necklace Harper saved for emergencies. Dr. Patrice Johnson arrived then, heels scraping tile as she barreled down the aisle. Mother and daughter dissolved into a quake of relief that melted even cynical onlookers. But Justice's blade had not yet finished falling. Solomon's legal counsel paced forward to read a prepared statement to every camera. ChronoHealth would face civil action for its VPS conduct. Oliver's personal assets were lean-targeted. Meanwhile, Elaine Pierce, the gray-haired consultant, realized her snarky tweet was already viral, and not the good kind. She deleted it, heart slamming, but the internet's memory is long. Back on the tarmac, Dr. Johnson swept Gabby into the Gulf Stream to finish the journey west, and to ensure her presentation went on. Before the door closed, Gabby glanced at Harper. "Thank you for believing me." Harper saluted with 2 fingers, tears shining. 2 evenings later in Seattle's Maiden-Bauer Center, 1,000 engineers rose in ovation as Gabby, wearing a spark-spangled headband, unveiled her drone swarm that could weave emergency fiber lines after earthquakes. She ended her talk with a quote she'd scrawled that morning. "In math, variables change, but truth remains constant." Reporters, having devoured the O'Hare scandal, broadcast her words worldwide. Millions watched, now cheering for the prodigy they had almost seen destroyed. Oliver Grant's mugshot, by contrast, looped on 24-hour news. ChronoHealth terminated him for cause, its stock dipping 7% before markets closed. The board blamed ethical catastrophe. On sentencing day, Oliver stared at the floor as the judge, a black woman with an engineering background, handed him 3 years minus parole, plus mandatory bias rehabilitation. Commentators called it lenient. Others relished that his LinkedIn would forever read, "convicted felon." Harper Lee, pivoting from turbulence to triumph, testified before the FAA about passenger bias. Her proposals became new training protocols. Every crew member now receives implicit bias drills, and any accusation against a minor requires an onboard officer's independent verification. Solomon Clark and Patrice Johnson announced a $120 million Gabrielle Initiative to fund STEM scholarships for girls of color and to supply every scholarship winner with protective legal coverage while traveling. Dow Jones analysts noted Clark Johnson's philanthropy boosted aerospace shares 9%. Empathy can be profitable after all. A month on, Gabby and Patrice visited Cape Canaveral as VPS. Standing beneath the gleaming Artemis capsule, Gabby traced metal seams and promised the director, "One day, I'll write code that guides the first child to Mars." The director chuckled. "After what you've navigated already, Mars will be a cakewalk." At night, when the world quieted and only ion propulsion equations glowed on her tablet, Gabby sometimes replayed the memory of Oliver's scowl and the cuffs biting her wrists. It still stung. But she anchored herself in something Harper once whispered in the galley while chaos swirled. Bigots fear what they can't calculate. Gabby had decided to become incalculable. The numbers would always tell the truth, and now the world knew she would, too.